Y'all, you will not believe what happened when 6 cop cars screeched into a quiet farm at dawn, and the HOA president thought she could just take someone's land. By the time the 6th patrol car skidded up the gravel, drive and slammed to a halt by the old barn, I'd already set my coffee on the porch. Red and blue lights splashed across the weathered boards of Mercer Farm, painting over the faded sign my great-grandfather had meticulously hand-painted nearly a century ago. Officers tumbled out like they were storming a cartel hideout, not a quiet farm where the biggest crime in recent memory was leaving the chicken coop door open. Leading them was Amanda Keane, HOA president of Cedar Ridge Estates. Blazer, heels sinking into the mud, an expression that screamed, "I was born for this moment." She pointed toward me. That's him, refusing to comply with HOA property rules. We voted to seize the land. He's been warned. I leaned casually in the doorway, coffee in one hand, phone in the other. On the screen, a timer was counting up. "What's that for?" one officer asked. I smiled, slow and deliberate. "That," I said, "is how long you've been on camera for civil rights violations. My attorney gets a copy automatically." Amanda's smile faltered. Above us, a drone hummed quietly, tracking everything. The officer's radio crackled. "Unit 12, the county attorney says, check jurisdiction." I simply nodded. "Welcome to Mercer Farm," I said. "I'm 36 and live alone on 80 acres. My family has farmed since 1925, Mercer. Farm has seen droughts, recessions, and even a failed freeway. Proposal my grandfather famously blocked by chaining himself to a tree. I grow hay, lease pastures, fix fences, and talk to my dog more than humans. Then came Cedar Ridge Estates, inching closer like a slow-moving storm. Houses rising, trails cutting near my fields, neighbors complaining about roosters at dawn. At the forefront, Amanda, realtor, HOA president, and the self-appointed designer of suburban aesthetics. She first visited with a smile that could charm a stubborn mule, looking at my barn and silo and saying, "This could be stunning with the right vision." I replied, "I like it how it is." That set the tone. Soon, my farm was featured in their marketing materials without permission, with heritage-adjacent living and sweeping farm views all plastered over my property. At first it was harmless. Then came letters, notices, volunteers measuring trail easements along my fence, and kids playing on my hay bales. "Because it's open space," I told them politely. "The fence line is the boundary." Amanda doubled down. Letters from the HOA, from developers, personal visits, sweet words masking aggressive demands to sell. I said no. She escalated, calling me non-compliant, obstructive, and a threat to community plans. Then came the zoning petition. On paper, it looked airtight. Drawings of clubhouses where hayfields grew and playgrounds over pastures. But they hadn't checked the legal protections: conservation easement, agricultural zoning, and Century Farm heritage designation. They were about to learn Mercer Farm was not up for grabs. But Amanda's overreach was only the beginning. What happened the morning 6 cop cars arrived might just be the most shocking twist yet. One bright Wednesday morning, I stepped out with my coffee and saw 6 patrol cars following Amanda's luxury SUV up my driveway. She'd called them, claiming Mercer Farm was community property and that I was unlawfully blocking access. What she didn't know was that I had prepared for this exact scenario weeks after the zoning hearing. I had installed 3 discrete security cameras, one at the gate, one at the barn, and one on the porch. Each was linked to a cloud backup that automatically recorded any motion or flagged phrases. I had also arranged for real-time alerts to my civil rights attorney and even had the county sheriff and attorney aware of my land's protections. Mercer Farm was private, legally protected, and well-documented. Amanda strutted forward, waving her folder, speaking about seizure and non-compliance. Calmly tapped my phone and started the timer. 001-002. The officer's eyes flicked to the laminated letter I had posted on the gate from the county attorney. Mercer Farm is private property, under agricultural zoning and a state conservation easement. No HOA or developer has any right of way or enforcement authority without my explicit consent. The lead officer read it twice. Radios crackled. Unit 12, confirm jurisdiction before action. Repeat, confirm jurisdiction. Amanda sputtered. We have an HOA resolution. The officer cut her off, voice edged with disbelief. Bylaws do not override property deeds or state law. No seizure today. I tapped my timer again. 3:17. This footage goes straight to my attorney, I said evenly. The drone overhead captured every second, streaming to a secure folder labeled Cedar Ridge HOA Overreach at the AG's office. Amanda had not anticipated that while she obsessed over petty bylaws, I had quietly escalated the matter to those who actually enforce the law. The fallout was swift. The AG's Civil Rights Division sent a letter to residents and the HOA, investigating harassment, misrepresentation, and potential civil rights violations. The county held a public meeting playing the video of the police standoff. Half the neighborhood whispered, realizing the HOA's authority had limits. Financial consequences followed. The HOA's insurers saw the video and immediately raised premiums and limited coverage for board misconduct. Certain board members, including Amanda, faced removal. Her reputation crumbled not with handcuffs or sirens, but through fines, oversight, and a public scolding that ensured she would never wield HOA power again. At the next emergency HOA meeting, a special election removed her from the board. The vote overwhelming, 68-12. Amanda clutched her folder, lips quivering. I was protecting property values, she said. Paul, the interim president, calmly replied, You tried to seize a man's farm with no authority. Motion passes. Her departure was quiet and measured, but the message was clear. Mercer Farm was untouchable. But while Amanda's defeat made headlines in the neighborhood, the Mercer Farm story was far from over, because when suburban egos collide with century-old land, the next move can come from anyone, and sometimes the quietest people have the loudest surprises. After Amanda's removal, Mercer Farm returned to its quiet, stubborn rhythm. The tractors hummed, the chickens clucked, and the drone cameras silently stood guard just in case. The neighborhood had seen firsthand that heritage, law, and preparation could protect what generations had built. But the story didn't end at a single victory. It became a warning. The Cedar Ridge HOA, reeling from fines, state oversight, and soaring insurance premiums, had to adopt new policies. No board member could act unilaterally, and every proposed action involving private land now required documented, written consent. Residents, initially sympathetic to Amanda's vision of community expansion, now whispered cautiously whenever development plans surfaced. As for Amanda, she tried to maintain her composure. Realtors asked if she was like that. Cedar Ridge woman, she became a cautionary tale in seminars on HOA ethics. Her ambition to control the land and paint over history had backfired spectacularly. Meanwhile, Mercer Farm remained exactly as it had been for decades. A working farm, untouched, resilient, and a symbol of quiet defiance against overreach. I kept the farm, but more importantly, I kept control over the story. Legal measures, security, and common sense had transformed what could have been a nightmare into an unassailable defense. Letters from the state, the AG's office, and the county reinforced that Mercer Farm was protected, giving me peace of mind. And neighbors? Many came by later to apologize for believing the HOA propaganda. Some even offered help with hay bales or fence repairs. The small gestures were reminders that integrity wins respect, even in a world obsessed with influence and rules. The incident became a lesson, not just in law, but in patience, preparation, and persistence. The quiet farm owner, underestimated by flashy suits and persuasive salespeople, had leveraged knowledge and documentation to turn the tables. The takeaway was simple: respect private property, know your rights, and never underestimate someone who knows both. Mercer Farm continued to thrive, unshaken by suburban encroachment. And Amanda? She faded from local politics, a whisper of caution in every HOA meeting. History had remembered the farm, and the farm had remembered history. If you loved seeing justice served and the clever defense of Mercer Farm, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our dramatic true story breakdowns. Smash the like button if you think standing your ground matters, and share this story with someone who needs a reminder that knowledge and patience a win against anyone, even a power-hungry HOA.